right, so now we're going to be talking about first grade math, lesson 110, combined quarters and dimes. So here we have quarters, we write the amounts, we write down how much they are as we count. Here, write the missing add-ins, that is a review from the last lesson. And I left enough space in case you want to draw circles, but you do not have to, you just need to write the missing number. So then on the back, we're going to be talking about combining quarters and dimes. Okay, so you write the amounts here. So we've talked in the past about quarters and dimes and what they look like, and then today we're actually going to be putting them together. So we'll first take a look at our quarters. This is up close. This is our laminated classroom coin. It's a bigger coin. You notice it says $quarter, so it already tells us what kind of coin this is. And we've talked about how the back of the quarters tend to look a little different from each other based on when they were made. This one was made when they made when they had the different states on the back of the quarters. The older ones have the eagle on the back, and it tells you $quarter down there. So how much a quarter is worth? And if you said 25, you're correct. Dimes, if we were to look at the size of them and compare, dimes are much smaller than quarters. George Washington's on the front with his long wig, and we have Roosevelt here with his short hair. He was a president in the 40s, and I believe it was 40s. Then on the back, we see the Olympic torch, and it says 1 dime, and so it tells you exactly what coin this is. So how much are dimes? And if you said 10 cents, you're correct. So if we were to look at these coins, they're a little closer to their actual size. This is play coins, they're not actual coins. But if we were to look at them actual size, we can see that these quarters are pretty fairly big, and the dimes are much smaller. And if I were to put them right next to each other, you can see that difference there. Okay, we have the dimes pretty small, the quarters that big size. We see the guy with the long hair, we see the guy with the short hair. Then on the back, we see the quarter has the eagle, and we see the Olympic torch, and the quarter says quarter, and the dime says dime. So when we count quarters, we know we count by 25. So let's practice counting by 25s. 25, 50, 75, $1. Okay, so let's count these coins. 25, 50, 75, $1, and you keep going. $1.25, $1.50, $1.75, and then $2, right? Now when we count dimes, we said they're worth 10, right? So we count by what? If you said tens, you're correct. So let's count by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, $1, $1.10, $1.20, and so on. When we put quarters and dimes together, we start counting the quarters first. You start with the higher value, and then you move on to the smaller value. So let's say we have these 2 quarters here, and let's say we have these 3 dimes, okay? So the first thing we do is we identify what the coins are, okay, and how much they're worth. So these are quarters, they're worth 25. These 3 are dimes, they're worth 10. So first we count by 25s. 25, 50, freeze. Now count by tens. What comes after 50 when you count by tens? And if you need to count by tens till you get to 50, you can do that. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So this is 80 cents. Okay, let's add a couple more quarters here and a couple more dimes. Okay, so here we have quarters. We're identifying them. They're worth 25. And here we have dimes, and they're worth 10. So let's count. 25, 50, 75, $1. And since we're saying $1, we can just keep $1 in our head and just count by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So we have a total of $1.50. Okay? But then when we start getting into counting by 25s and it's not even, it doesn't always show counting by tens if you get to 50, and it's pretty easy to count 60, 70, 80. But what about when we have just 1/4 and a couple of dimes? Okay, well, we know, we've talked about in the past, when we count by tens, 10, 20, 30, we know that the digits in the ones place stay the same. The digit in the tens place go up by 1, right? So if we count by tens, starting with 5, that 5 is going to stay the same, right? The 5 in the ones place stays the same, and the digit in the tens place goes up by 1. So if we have a quarter, we know that's 25. Now count by tens. What comes after 25 when you're counting by tens? So 25, 35, 45. Okay, let's say that we have 3/4. Okay, let's count by 25s. 25, 50, 75, and then count by tens. 85, 95. Let's make it a little harder. Okay, 25, 50, 75, freeze. Count by tens. 85, 95, 105, $1.05. Let's add a couple more. 25, 50, 75, freeze. 85, 95, $1.05, $1.15, $1.25. So if I were to write out what I just counted, we'll start with 75 cents. So, well, actually, we'll start here. 25 cents, 50 cents, and then 75, and this is still cents, and then we count it by tens. 85, 95, 105, and remember, if we were to do dollar signs, it's like that. So we have 75, 85, 95, 105, 115, 125. You see how the digits in the ones place stay the same, and the digit in the tens place go up, and the digit in the dollars stays the same. Okay, so let's look at a couple of bigger examples. So we have these quarters here. Okay, so we have some quarters and we have some dimes. So first of all, we need to identify the coins. How much are quarters? 25. So we're going to write 25, 25. Okay. And we see dimes, so now we're going to be changing how we're going to count. So we like to draw that line to remind us to freeze. How much are dimes worth? 10, 10, and 10. Okay. So now let's start to count. So we have 25, 50, freeze. Count by tens now. 60, 70, 80 cents. Okay, that's easy enough, right? So we can do that. Pretty easy. Well, now let's add another quarter into the mix. Okay, so we know quarters are 25. Okay. So let's do this. We know these are 25. So we have 25, 50, 75, freeze, 85, 95, and then I'm going to keep my 5 the same. That 9 becomes a 10. 1, 2 dot, dollar sign, $1.05. Okay, it is a little tricky to do, but the more you practice, the better you'll get at it. I would recommend having some actual quarters and dimes in your hands and practicing counting them with your adult. Have a great day.